Hey guys, welcome back to Dynasty in 30. It's a Fantasy Now Plus show brought to you courtesy of Finns Talk Sportsnet. Make sure you check out our other content. We've got Fantasy Recap on Mondays with Joss and Justin. Studs and Suds is Friday with Jeff and Pudge. You can find articles and more on our website at fantasynowplus.com. We're introducing a new face today, bringing fresh takes and hard facts. We're going to discuss our favorites from the NFL classes. We're going to be looking at freshmen, your favorite not obvious rookies, our sophomores, our second-year breakout candidates, juniors, who are upperclassmen that are ready to jump up a tier in their position, and seniors, the steady vets that'll be underrated heading into the year. Get comfy, take out your notebooks, because class is in session.
You're watching Dynasty in 30, only on Fantasy Now Plus.
All right, first and foremost, I am super pumped to introduce Tim Holstead, my new co-host for Dynasty in 30. Tim, why don't you go ahead and take the reins, introduce yourself, let us know what you're working on.
Definitely. Name's Tim. Have been here with Fantasy Now for almost 5 months at this point. I am a Dynasty writer and best ball writer for the team. I've been playing fantasy football for just over 12 years now. Really started out redraft in auction of all places, which is kind of weird to start out with, but got into that, really wanted to win, so started watching content, and content turned into loving Dynasty. Dynasty turned into loving best ball, and now we're here. So
It'll be a vicious circle.
Yeah. I'm an English college graduate for an English major, so that's kind of where my writing background comes from, and kind of paired that with my love of sports. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
Very cool. Awesome stuff. Not gonna lie, it's getting me hype for this upcoming season. Let's go ahead. Let's dive into our topics. I think we're gonna touch on a ton of players today, and frankly, I think you're gonna get some really strong takes. So we'll start with the freshmen. Remember, these are our not obvious rookies. Tim, who's your first guy?
My first guy is Jalen Noel, Houston Texans, 3rd round pick. I have always liked Noel as a prospect. I actually liked him better than Jaden Higgins coming out of college. I think his skill set scores fantasy points at a better clip than Higgins does. And they're still on the same team, so we can still get to make that comparison for at least the next few years. But the Texans have Nico Collins and nothing. Stephon Diggs with his injury is gone. Tank Dell is gone for at least this year. Honestly, who knows if he ever comes back or is ever anything close to what he was. So it's really just an open competition between Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, and who they call Slot Demon, Christian Kirk. As a Cardinals fan, I'm familiar with Christian Kirk. I watched him come into the league. He's fine. He really is. He's an average, good real life NFL wide receiver, but I also don't think his presence is preventative of Noel winning the job, especially by the end of the year, but possibly earlier than we might expect. There's also the possibility he just plays over Higgins. None of camp is really saying that yet, but we aren't even into preseason game 1, so we'll see how it goes. And I think he has a very clear pathway to matter a lot earlier than people might expect.
Absolutely. I will say I like that pick, and I absolutely hate that pick. As an Iowa Hawkeye, yes, I know he was productive in college. Gosh dang it, he did plenty against us.
Yeah.
Um, I'm actually going to keep it on the same team with my first rookie. He's currently going as 42nd in Superflex rookie drafts on Sleeper. Woody Marks. I do not know what we're doing here, people. Joe Mixon is already dealing with a foot injury. He's expected to miss significant time. Does this ring any bells? How did things go with CMC last year?
Yep.
Let's assume Mixon is out for a while. Okay, who's next up? Nick Chubb. I'm sorry. It is not that Nick Chubb. This is Nick Chubb coming off his second serious knee injury. He's 29, joining a new team. But it's not joining a new team like last year with Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, or even Joe Mixon. They went out to get him as a backup. They wanted someone safe. They're not asking Chubb to come in and carry the load for them. Oh, I mean, I don't know what you're going to expect out of someone that they wanted as a backup.
Yeah.
I think there is a non-zero chance that Chubb is kind of cooked.
I think it's a pretty good chance.
Jaquavius Marks. Yes, his name is Jaquavius. I had to throw that in for those of you who follow me on Blue Sky. I threw out a little bit of a trivia question earlier this week, so there is your answer.
Yeah.
He's a 4th-round pick. He actually cost the Texans a 3rd-round pick. They traded a 3rd-round pick to get him. My running back prospect model actually had him as running back 7 after the draft before I made any situational adjustments based on who drafted who, just looking at draft capital and their college production profile. I actually had him ahead of Caleb Johnson, which again hurts as a Hawkeye, but the numbers are the numbers. If I adjust his draft capital to be 96th and say they traded a 3rd-round pick, let's give him end of 3rd draft capital, he would have moved up to running back 6 in this loaded class ahead of RJ Harvey. The kid has a great profile. He's awesome receiving chops. Everyone thinks he's going to be this like receiving back. I hate to break it to you, but he's got the size to handle a full workload. He is over 205 pounds. Like, he's not a huge bruiser, but he's not some dainty little thing that has to catch passes in space.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's been going nuts for guys hyped up in similar situations. Jadon Blue, Dylan Sampson. You know, it's these guys who are ending up closer than expected to starting. In my mind, Woody Marks needs to be taken ahead of both of them. That's all I've got. Tim, why don't you give us our second player while I cool off? I'm going to get down off this soapbox.
Definitely. My second guy is not a fully similar bet, but relatively similar bet. It's Jarquez Hunter, Los Angeles Rams. I know Kyron Williams is there. I do. I know Blake Corum is there. I don't care that much. You know, of the two, Blake Corum has the highest capital investment between him and Kyron anyways. And like, they're basically just the same player. Like, they're slower, they're bigger, they can handle a lot of touches, but they don't really do anything with them outside of whatever the offense allows them to do. You know, Kyron has spiked on touchdown efficiency 2 years in a row, and just getting an absolute crap ton of work. Like, you know, even with last year with Corum coming in at every 3rd drive of the game, like, nothing changed for Kyron and nothing happened for Corum. It basically was just he's basically Najee Harris, to be honest. Like, he's a 6th-round Najee Harris. He
with 2 eyes.
Yeah. Like, and that's fine, you know, but they drafted Hunter to be something different. He has explosiveness. He has pass catching. He has big playability. And that's something the Rams just haven't had in their backfield for the last couple of years. And do I think he just wins the job outright? No, I don't. If he does, great, but that's not really the play here. The play is he's the pass catching back. He gets some design touches. He gets some design play calls for him. He becomes a part of the offense and not just a fill-in back. And frankly, like, once that happens, if he continues to show the explosiveness that we saw in college, if he continues to play with the speed that we have, he could just start stealing work from Kyron. He could come in a lot more than Corum does. Like, that's kind of the bet that I'm willing to make. You know, he's a pretty good prospect profile. He was productive in college. He's not tiny. I think there's a lot to like about him.
Absolutely. So I'll admit I cannot keep it on the same team this time, but I will keep it in the same city. All right. So my second rookie is going to be Hall of Fame game standout Keandre Lambert-Smith. I've been adding him everywhere ahead of the preseason games. If I'm being honest, this guy was already one that I was monitoring. He's a skilled deep threat. He went to a team that absolutely needed an X receiver. You know, they went with option A, Mike Williams, and he unexpectedly retired. Option B was Trey Harris, you know, second round pick, and then second round picks start not signing contracts for a while. So sure enough, I mean, whatever that does to you, it does not help your case with your team to not be available right away. But they need someone as a complement to Ladd McConkey. You know, if you watch the Hall of Fame game, you probably already know his name. He did what he's going to do. All right, this is a very skilled player. He caught a deep ball where he absolutely smoked the cornerback at the line of scrimmage. Caught it wide open. Safety had to come over and knock him out of bounds. You know, then his touchdown he scores in the red zone on a short area target, breaks one tackle, scampers into the end zone. I don't know that he's going to be a fantasy difference maker, but he's someone you can stash on your bench and watch his value increase this year. And then see what happens. You can either trade him or use him depending on your roster. This is a guy that you can pretty much get for free right now, so take advantage.
Love that.
All right, Tim, who's your last rookie? Who do we got?
Last rookie. This was a pretty deep tight end class, which kind of went underrated with the talk of how deep the running back class was. And to me, the clear tight end 3 for me is Mason Taylor for the Jets. And honestly, that was before anything happened with draft capital, with teams, and it kind of just stayed the same for me. He's athletic, son of a Hall of Famer. And frankly, he's probably the second target on the Jets from day one. They might try and claim it's Josh Reynolds, but if he can't beat Josh Reynolds, then we're already losing the bet anyways. So again, that's a chance I'm willing to take, but he's going to get a pretty decent amount of work from the get-go. And the more work you get as a rookie, the higher chance you have of increasing value in Dynasty. I don't think he will ever ascend to the top echelon of tight ends by any means, but I think he could easily be a back end tight end 1 for maybe his whole career, for at least his rookie contract. Because again, even if the Jets move off of Justin Fields after this year, like, there's a chance that they just get a good rookie quarterback for the first time in their history.
And there's a first time for everything.
Yeah, like, you know, he's never going to overtake Garrett Wilson, but he's definitely in the mold of, like, you know, Kate Otten, maybe like a watered down version of TJ Hawkinson, where he's there. He's going to catch what you throw. He can break a few tackles. He'll give you a few big plays every once in a while, and he's just steady. I think he's going to do that from day one. And I like investing in rookies that can explode in value almost right off the bat, especially when they're cheaper to start out with. So
absolutely. Yeah, he's not at all being considered in that same tier with the top two. So
yeah.
All right, I would be remiss if I did not shout out Mr. Topher Kurt. Go Hawkeyes. That is a solid crop of rookies that everyone is going to have access to, either via draft picks, being able to trade. None of those guys are too expensive yet. So if you like any of those, go ahead and get them. But let's move on to our sophomores, our second year breakout candidates. Tim, who do you want to start us off with?
I've got a spicy one because it's not someone that you would think would be on this list. I'm going with Brock Bowers, and you're probably shouting at your phone or your TV screen, he already broke out. And I would say, absolutely. He was arguably, not even really arguably, like outside of touchdowns, there is no argument, but he was the best rookie tight end ever that we've ever had. He broke the NFL rookie receptions record, not tight end, NFL. And he did that with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew as his quarterbacks, and a little bit of Desmond Ridder, I think, if I remember correctly, who didn't want to play football until like a month ago. And, when we draft second-year players, either in a startup or even in redraft, so a lot of their ADP is baked in to the fact that we think they're going to improve as players. They're going to take that second step. They're going to increase in value. And that's pretty true for a lot of the top tier receivers. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Ladd McConkey. They have high ADPs no matter what format you're drafting in. People really think that at worst, they'll reproduce their rookie seasons, but they'll probably take a step forward. And I don't think we're taking that ADP and that belief into the Brock Bowers situation. Everything got better for him. He has a better quarterback. He has a better coach. He has a better offensive coordinator. And yes, they added a couple rookie receivers, but frankly, Jack Besh kind of just does what Brock Bowers does. So I don't think he's going to replace any of Bowers' targets in that way. And Deontay Thornton, I mean, it's fun that he's really tall and really fast. We love those taking shots on those guys, but he didn't produce in college, and he played for the weirdest offense in college football in Tennessee. We have no idea if he's actually good or not. And reports are good out of camp, but again, he doesn't really change the equation for Brock Bowers. So who's to say that he can't go from I think it was 112 receptions and give you 130 this year, 140. He had a very low average depth of target because he was playing with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Who's to say that doesn't just increase in year two?
Yeah.
In college, he was known that he could have some gadget plays. Like he had rushes, he had weird plays around the goal line that got him goal line opportunities. That never happened last year. What if it does? What if Chip Kelly gets a little creative for once? And what if he gets 5 goal line carries this year? And even if it's 2 touchdowns, how many other tight ends are getting rushing touchdowns outside of Taysom Hill, who's not playing this year? So I don't see I don't see a world where Bowers regresses in value in Dynasty. I just don't. This is not Kyle Pitts. This is not Sam Laporta. This is an entirely different bet. This is legitimately Travis Kelce if he broke out at 21 instead of 25.
Yep. I love that. That would be so sick if he was able to make that leap from that rookie year. He is just built different. So
Yep.
yeah, I hope we get to see it. I'm a Bowers truther. I am totally with you there, and I really, really hope that we get to see that. My first guy that I think is going to make the year 2 leap. In this case, it's really just a much improved situation, kind of like you were talking about with Bowers. It's Rome Odunze. All right, wide receiver for the Bears. He adds Ben Johnson, one of the best offensive coaches in the league. That will instantly revitalize this Bears offense. It's going to tap into the potential of Caleb Williams, a number 1 overall pick. Yeah, he didn't look great last year, but nothing looked great last year in that system. The kid's got talent. I think Ben Johnson's going to be able to bring it out. Rome was a great prospect as an ex-wide receiver. His rookie year, he did not do anything to worry me. It was not Rome Odunze going out and struggling. That was just a terrible situation. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right. It was not a talent deficiency. You can add in improved play calling now, adding more playmakers around the field for defenses to worry about. You're going to see Rome take advantage of all that. So I definitely see him ascending here. I'm really excited to see this Bears offense.
Yeah.
So
I
that's what I've got. Tim, who's your other sophomore?
Definitely. Just to touch on Rome real quick.
Oh, yeah.
One thing I did last year was anywhere I had the 101 or the 102, I was down tiering to the 103 to grab Rome because I thought he was in a similar caliber to Harrison and Neighbors. I was scared after last year. That didn't play out exactly how you would like, but I think he's in the perfect position. And I really do think you're going to know after this year whether this is someone worth keeping around or acquiring in Dynasty. It's going to be evident almost off the rip if he actually is that X for Caleb or if it's, oh God, it's QJ. Cool. My second sophomore is Drake May, New England Patriots quarterback. I loved him as a prospect. Who didn't in the Dynasty space? Huge arm, athletic, big guy, produced in college, all the stuff that you wanted. People really liked Drake May. And he went to, speaking of an awful situation, boy howdy, were the Patriots bad last year. They, again, just an incompetent offensive coordinator. His best weapon was Ramondre Stevenson. And all due respect, but he just got replaced by the team this year. That's how much they believed in him. He has no NFL level wide receivers on that team last year. Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper were his best pass catchers. And that's unfortunately somewhat still the case this year, but they add Stephon Diggs, who seems like he's already healthy. He has no restrictions in camp. He's not on PUP. They say he looks good. So he's not going to be Buffalo Bills Stephon Diggs, but could he give you last year's Bears Keenan Allen? I think so. Maybe even better. And they take Travion Henderson, who explosive, great pass catching ability, really opens up the offense. All that being said, though, I just think Drake May's good at football. He passes the eye test. He really does. And he has a rushing floor that I just don't think enough fantasy managers take into account. He rushed for almost 500 yards last year in half the season. He scrambled at one of the highest rates of any quarterback last year, which is good for fantasy. You want yards. Rushing yards are king for quarterbacks. That's why everyone loves Konami code quarterbacks. And he basically is one, and he's not talked like he is, and he's not valued like he is. So, something that I have been preaching all off season is if you have Joe Burrow, if you have Patrick Mahomes, if you have Baker Mayfield, down tier to Drake May and get something on top of that. And I think you're going to get 95% of that fantasy value back, if not more than that. I don't think he's going to just disappear. And I don't think he really is going to be able to bust at the same rate that any of the pocket passing quarterbacks can, as long as he runs. I kind of liken it to like early career Dak Prescott, where he ran a lot, and like the passing will get there eventually. It's not bad. Like, this is not Anthony Richardson, but if he takes a step forward,
Hey, Rich out here catching strays, man.
Listen, great fantasy player, but I would be a very sad customer if he was my team's IRL quarterback. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, Justin. But yeah, I think Drake May just has all the potential in the world, and he does what we like for fantasy. So I think you should get him now, because if he breaks out, he will be in that top tier. He will be right next to Jaden Daniels. He'll be right next to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, definitely. I'm personally very curious to see him get a full year. He definitely had a promising end to the rookie year once he took over. I do really want to see how that goes. I do have another tight end. I know you had Brock Bowers. Ben Sinnott. Really, really, really quiet rookie year. Kind of got stuck behind Zach Ertz, even though Washington was a pretty good fantasy environment last year. He really didn't get involved all that much. And yes, Zach Ertz, he's still there. But Ben Sinnott is just one of those prospects who will not miss once he gets his chance at extensive playing time. He's super athletic. He's in a strong offense driven by a young stud QB. The tight end one in front of him is getting old. All right. Zach Ertz is not young. The wide receiver one is currently holding out for a new deal, unless there's been any breaking news while we've been live. But, you can't throw to someone who's not on the field. So targets are going to have to go somewhere, even if McLaurin does come back. Like, we've seen it how many times where people miss a good chunk of camp, come back, they're not conditioned, soft tissue injuries linger throughout the season. The recipe is there for Sinnott to get more opportunities than expected, earlier than expected. Whether it's filling in for Ertz missing time, extra opportunities in 12 personnel, Sinnott is a name that everyone is going to know heading into drafts next year. So you need to go get him now before people realize it. With that, let's go ahead and hop up another grade. We're going to go to our junior class. And remember, this category, these are the upperclassmen who are ready to jump up another tier at their position. So I'm going to start this one off. I've got Jordan Love. All right. People may have a sour taste in their mouth from 2024. Disappointment from lofty expectations. I get it. All right. I know, I was there. I had plenty of him, you guys. I know firsthand. He just wasn't healthy most of the year. And that's not something that you can do anything about. He added in a new receiving option. He's got another year working with his other young pass catchers. I'm not going to change my expectations for Jordan Love compared to what he was heading into last year because of what happened last year with injuries. I think it's just a reset. I now expect him to have the season that I expected last year, this year. And by the way, that kind of means that I think he's a dark horse candidate to lead the league in passing yards. If that gives you any indication. So I'll cut off there. But Tim, who do you got in this category?
I'm going to start with Xavier Worthy for the Chiefs. Even if Rashee Rice was healthy and if he was not suspended, Worthy was a better prospect. He has higher draft capital. He is faster. He's more explosive. Again, he checks all of the boxes that you look for to score points in fantasy. The only thing that was holding him back was the ideal that Rashee Rice is the one. But Rashee Rice was the one because no one else could be the one. Travis Kelce was getting older. He's still old. Unfortunately, that doesn't stop. He didn't get open the way he used to in his prime, and Rice was able to. And so I kind of think that Worthy is just better at football than Rashee Rice. And I think that he really came on in the second half of the year, especially in the playoffs, which some people might forget in the fantasy space. Like, you've checked out. It's everything's done in fantasy. We're just watching the games to watch now. Was all of his Super Bowl production kind of inflated by being in garbage time? Maybe. But he also proved that he can do it. Like, he can do that any given week. And I think he takes a step forward, and I think there's a non-zero chance that he just becomes the one, especially with Rice off the field for 4 to 6 weeks, probably. We don't know the suspension length yet, but it's not going to be short.
Unless anyone watching, has there been any news that has come out while we're streaming here? We're still waiting for it.
Yep. And I like betting on second-year breakouts. He has all the skill. He has all the tools that you look for. He's attached to Patrick Mahomes. Will their offense become what it used to be? I don't think so. But what if it does? What if it's 75% of what it was? What if it's just not last year where they ran Kareem Hunt 20 times for 40 yards? This is not McCole Hardman. This is not Sky Moore. This is a legitimate first-round NFL draft pick with a 18-year-old breakout age at the University of Texas. I like the bet, and I think he could easily get into the wide receiver 13 to 24 range by next year.
Definitely fair. I think so. I kind of have to cheat. I'm going to circle back to Green Bay again. Going off of Jordan Love, if he's going to break out, Jaden Reed is going to be part of it. He's played extremely well his first 2 years. It hasn't always been as successful for fantasy as you might hope. He's been kind of hit or miss there. Does have a nice ceiling though. And again, if I'm calling Love to take a step forward, it's going to be Reed that's going to be a big beneficiary. So one of the issues he's been having is that wide distribution of targets in Green Bay. I mean, they're rotating people on the field, off the field. It's going all different directions. I think the pecking order kind of became clear last year. We'll see where Matthew Golden fits in. Granted, first round talent. I like that kid. I'm very curious to see what he does. But of the returning players, Reed's number one. All right, it's his show first. Kraft was pretty explosive last year, but after that, none of the other wide receivers really made a push for taking playing time away from Reed. And I think we're going to see that to some extent this year as they start shifting kind of away from the guys that they were hoping would make a step and just didn't. And they'll just focus on the guys who were able to be productive. So you're going to see more of Reed. You're going to see more of Kraft. Hopefully you see a bunch of Matthew Golden. I hope he hits. That would be a fun offense to watch. But I mean, he's a weapon, pure and simple. And Matt LaFleur just needs to get him touches any way that he can. So I know people got burned last year. So let me step back for a little bit. I'm going to brace for all the Reed hate that's going to be coming my way. Tim, take it away for us with your next player. I'm taking cover.
Alrighty. Well, I think you're going to find out really quick, folks, that we like the Packers this year, because both of us actually had this player on our list, and it's Tucker Kraft. Listen, for all the reasons that you just said, it was hard last year. And something that I want to point out is that Jordan Love got injured game 1, and he was never healthy for the rest of the season at all. And it was obvious, he looked uncertain on the field. He did not extend plays the way he did as a rookie. He just kind of had to turtle up. It kind of reminded me of Tua after he got one of his concussions the last couple of years. Like, he didn't take any steps forward. And I don't think that's because of talent. I think that was just he didn't have the ability to. He was injured, and they ran the offense through Josh Jacobs because of it. And I don't think they do that this year, at least not to that extent. And so then as we go into what you were discussing, like, who benefits from that? It's Golden, it's Reed, and it's Tucker Kraft. I think he's pretty clearly won the tight end job. They took Luke Musgrave ahead, but much like the Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews situation, I think the later pick is just better at football. He doesn't come off the field, Tucker Kraft. He is a good blocker. He's a good receiver. He's a good athlete. He's just out there. And I just think he has the potential to end up being the primary target. Is it likely? Probably not. But who's to say he couldn't get a 22-23% target share at the tight end position? And that's what you're looking for in fantasy. You're looking for primary targets at tight end or touchdown upside. He has the potential to get both of them. It's not guaranteed he's getting both of them or either of them, but he has the potential to get both of them. And if he does, he will not be like a late tight end 1, early tight end 2 anymore. He will be in the Sam Laporta range. He will be in the TJ Hawkinson range. And I like making those bets in Dynasty. He might be worth a first round pick next year. And like, you want tight ends that can just give you value like that.
Definitely. I was going to put you on the spot. I was going to ask if he has a good season here, like where do you see him starting next season? And because I'm sitting here thinking, I mean, I kind of view him personally, talent wise, as kind of that tight end 5, tight end 6, which I think is right around the area you mentioned with Hawkinson, maybe a little bit right with Sam Laporta, depending on how that year goes. So definitely like it. Love that take. Love the player. No notes. 10 out of 10.
Love the Packers, apparently.
Yeah. What's funny, I grew up in Minnesota too, so that one hurts too. But
yeah,
you got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
Tim, we need to talk after this. We probably need to pop a bet down on Green Bay, given all of that. Figure out what we want to do there. If everybody does hit like we're saying, I mean, that offense is going to be nasty. But I digress. Let's move on. Let's get to our final class of the day, our seniors. I do see we're a little bit over time, but I mean, we are cooking. I don't know about you, Tim, but I am loving this. This is a lot of fun. So we'll call these our super seniors. We'll call it and say they came back for a 5th year, maybe getting a COVID year in the extra time here. So these are our boring vets. All right. There's no getting around it. But who are your boring vets that are going to help you bring home the championship this year? Tim, who's standing out in your opinion?
I'm going to start with someone who I never thought would be boring, but he kind of is now, and it's AJ Brown. He had less targets last year than Wan'Dale Robinson. Just let me pause and let you think about that for a moment.
Wheels are turning.
The Eagles just absolutely rode the covers off of Saquon Barkley last year, and it worked. They're Super Bowl champions. Will it work again this year? Unknown. It could. It absolutely could. I mean, Saquon is a freak. He's the Derrick Henry mold of just age probably isn't going to matter for this guy. But funny enough, that also applies to AJ Brown. I don't think age is going to matter for this guy. He just gets open no matter what. He is always open. He catches basically everything. He is huge. He is strong. You can't really guard him one-on-one. There always has to be some kind of shell coverage. There has to be zone. There has to be something there to help whoever is guarding him on defense. It just doesn't work if you just slap a man corner on him and say, go play press against A.J. Brown. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I mean, he consistently was, in a one quarterback dynasty, he was back end of the first, early second, and he's not. Like, he's dropping because his age is starting to creep closer to starting with a 3, but his play isn't. He just didn't get the targets last year that he normally gets. Something that a lot of people are forgetting is that the Eagles' offensive coordinator is gone. Like, the last time that happened, the team majorly regressed on both sides of the ball. And, like, you're one Saquon injury away from Jalen Hurts having to throw the ball 30 plus times a game. And when that happens, guess who's getting it? It's A.J. Brown. And he's going to do A.J. Brown things with it. I don't see a world where he's a bad pick in Dynasty and redraft. Sure, he's not going to ascend in value, but we're in the veterans tier. No one is. He's also not going to plummet in value. He's not going to become DeAndre Hopkins, where 1 year it's just gone.
Yeah.
Like, if you had DeAndre Hopkins heading into last year, you lost so much value. There's nothing left. Like, he's the wide receiver 3 on the Ravens now. Like, I don't think A.J. Brown takes that trajectory. I think he's just continues to be good until proven otherwise.
No, I agree with you there. I think he's one of those guys that, yes, he's a veteran, but he's not at the end veteran. He's going to produce at that high level for several years yet. So yeah, I love it. I have one other wide receiver aging, but I think he's still got more in the tank. We kind of mentioned him a little bit earlier on one of Tim's picks. Stephon Diggs joining the Patriots. He's going to give Drake May one of those top tier weapons. No, it's not going to be a Puka Nacua. It's not going to be Malik Neighbors. But Stephon Diggs is a legitimate X receiver. I mean, he cut his chops in the league. He has succeeded all over the place. All right. We saw Diggs switch teams last year, and he was immediately involved in Houston. He got injured, so we didn't get to see what a full season was going to look like. But, I mean, if you project out that he was going to keep building chemistry, that was going to be a solid season as a number 2 receiver. I mean, he was not meant to unseat Nico Collins. He was there to complement. Now he's being brought in to be the guy to kind of lead those pass catchers as they try and figure out what does the future hold for Drake May. He's going to be May's most reliable weapon. They are accumulating some good options. You mentioned Travion Henderson, running back. They've still got Hunter Henry at tight end. Like, he's good. He's getting older, but he can still catch the ball. They've got Pop Douglas, and they drafted Kyle Williams. Like, they've got a good stable of talent coming in, but it's just not necessarily quite ready yet. That's where Diggs is going to fit in. He is going to absolutely dominate that Patriots offense this year. In the passing game, he is going to be read 1, probably read 2, and then maybe Drake May is going to find Pop Douglas or Hunter Henry in the middle. Okay, like that's what it's going to be. People are worried about Diggs' age, but you don't have to spend all that much to get him because of that. He doesn't have great stats from last year due to injuries, and that's really depressing his value. Like, go out and get him, because he's one of those guys that's like bottom of the barrel cheap, but he's going to give you solid wide receiver 2 production. All right, Tim, who's your next guy? Who do you got?
Next guy, going to the tight end position. I mentioned him earlier, talking about Tucker Kraft. Time for the original Tucker Kraft in Mark Andrews. Listen, a lot of people remember the drop in the playoffs. A lot of people remember the start of the season of 0, 0, goose. I get it. He was good last year. He was legitimately good. He didn't really fall off from a metric standpoint. He played the way that he has been for the last few years. He was just coming back from tightrope surgery, and we have a pretty defined pattern now that your first year back from tightrope surgery, you're not at 100%. Like you can't move quite the way that you used to. And he was still pretty good despite that. And now he's 2 years off of that. He's been fully healthy all offseason. And more importantly, Isaiah Likely has not. We just got word this week that he broke his foot. He's getting surgery. He might be ready for week 1, but that's kind of unknown. The Ravens are still a top 3 offense in football. I don't really think that's going to change unless Derrick Henry just disappears off the face of the planet, which is pretty unlikely unless you're Kyle Shanahan. But listen, he's the main end zone target for Lamar Jackson. He still gets open. He doesn't really have that much target competition still. It's still just Zay Flowers and the occasional Rashad Bateman. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins takes that much share out of the pool. Isaiah Likely is not going to start the season healthy. And that's, as you mentioned earlier, that's not great for getting into a rhythm and getting into later fantasy production. Like most of the best fantasy scorers year over year stayed healthy the whole year because they had the time to ramp up in camp, and they developed chemistry, and they learned the system or ingrained in the system. And like, that's just kind of, Andrews has been here forever. Like, he knows Lamar knows him. I don't think anything fundamentally has changed. He's barely 30. Like, he's not old for the tight end position. I think he can just do what he always does this year. I really do.
Definitely. I will say I'll go ahead. I'm going to keep the streak of pass catchers going here. So I'm going to stay at wide receiver though. I think Calvin Ridley is going to put up a very, very nice season. He was just wasted so badly last year. One of the league leaders in air yards. Okay. Like, they were throwing him the ball. The problem is was Will Levis. How many of those were just uncatchable passes by Levis? I mean, he was just yeeting it down the field, and give the guy a chance, please. Like, give him a chance, and he's going to come down with it. All right. Ridley's not prime Calvin Ridley, but he is still good enough. If he's getting 10 targets a game, he's going to give you wide receiver 1 production. And people aren't seeing it because they look at his stats from last year that are so depressed from how bad that Titans offense was going to be. He's got Cam Ward now. Like, yes, there are question marks about rookie quarterbacks. I get that. But he's also the top target, and rookie quarterbacks can support a target. It's trouble when you need him to support 2 or 3 for your fantasy production. But when you're the number 1 guy, you're going to get yours. They're going to tendency more than likely he's going to lock on to Ridley more than he should. Most likely he'll learn from that this year, but hey, those issues aren't going to hurt Ridley's production. So that's my guy. Go get him while he's cheap. Ridley is going to be on a bunch of championship teams.
Love it.
All right, Tim, what you got?
Alrighty. My last guy is gross. It's going to sound gross.
Oh no.
But I promise you that he is worth going to get if you are contending right now. It is Alvin Kamara, New Orleans Saints. We have done this dance before with him for probably the last 2 years, maybe 3. This is the year it falls off. Is it? Like, he's not a traditional running back in the way that you think of running backs. His fantasy value has never truly been he's getting 25 carries a game or he's breaking 70-yard runs. His value has always been he's getting 8 targets a game and he's catching 6 of them for 60 yards and sometimes a touchdown. Oh, and he also had 50 to 75 rushing yards. Hey, look, that's 25 fantasy points. Yay. I understand how bad the Saints are going to be this year. Like, they have a 3-way, absolutely disgusting quarterback competition where I don't think you can have a winner in the sense of the word.
Who are you rooting for in that competition? I'm curious.
Jameis Winston. To be, like, it's probably going to be Shuck because they took him in the 2nd round, but all reports out of camp are that was a bad choice so far because he can't beat out Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler. That's not good. Like, if they wanted someone at that level, they would have just kept Spencer Rattler and made him the starter. So you are not going to get good quarterback play this year. You're just not. But quarterback play doesn't really matter for pass catching. Like, they love checking it down when they can't throw it past 15 yards. Like, guess who that's going to be, especially with Taysom Hill gone all year. It's going to be Kamara in bunches. As long as he's healthy, he's going to be a running back 1 in points per game. He just is. And again, he's getting older. You don't want to buy a player like that normally, but someone that, like, he really could just help you win your championship this year.
Yeah.
And no one wants
100% on Alvin Kamara. I see the picture you're painting there. I do need to kind of edit out all of the parts that are giving me PTSD when you're reminding me of Taysom Hill. Yeah, pretty sure I had him as my tight end 3 last year going into the season, and it looked good.
You were close.
Oh man, please get healthy and give it one more go, Taysom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one more guy too. Again, it's one of those older running backs that people think the wheels are falling off. Very, very similar situation here. James Conner. All right. Hear me out. He is more of a ground-based running back. So I know you were kind of hyping up the pass catching. Conner will catch some passes, but he's more going to be the grinded out guy. So how is he going to help you? Well, look at the share of work he gets in that Arizona backfield. Everyone thought last year that they spent a pretty high pick on Trey Benson and that was going to kind of spell the end of James Conner. Yeah, he's still got a couple years left on his contract. So they're going to ride that thing until the wheels do actually fall off. He's going to get all the work he can handle. All right. It's going to be 20 carries a game, probably 2-3 targets a game. I mean, he's going to be the goal line back. There's no question about that. I don't think you have to pay very much to go get very, very solid RB2 production that's just going to be reliable. And a lot of times that's what you need out of these veterans. I mean, you're going out, you've got your rookie drafts going on. Maybe it's already done. You're going to make some trades for some rookies. That's where you're going for your upside swings. You can come back here and get these cheap veterans that really kind of give you that floor play of, okay, if this guy doesn't hit, at least I've got this to fall back on. And hopefully all your picks hit. I'm not saying they're not. I'm not jinxing you there, but if for some reason you forget to put those stars into your lineup, you can have James Conner there to keep you afloat. So, all right. I mean, looking at the time, I think that's going to have to do it for today. Looks like you guys got essentially a bonus episode here. Free Dynasty. You're welcome. Tim, thank you for all that great info. Loved chopping it up with you today. Until next time, let's go chase those ships.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.